Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com and the Victorious Hockey Company with today's Junior Hockey Morning Show, Monday, January 23rd, 2023. On Mondays, we will usually break down the North American Hockey League rankings from top to bottom. Today's guest was supposed to be Eric Ballard. He's MIA this morning in Wyoming. We'll see if he's in an accident or maybe put his truck into a snow bank. We do that a lot in the snow. I haven't done that in the snow in 20-something years, but Eric, he is welcome to hit a snowbank on occasion or oversleeping or too much tequila. Who knows? That kind of day. So Friday, people were asking me about our coffee. What is the name of the coffee that keeps you alive in the morning? Tell me, show them the brand. Cafe Bustelo. You got to show them the actual label. You probably can get it. That wasn't very good. Let them see the whole thing. Cafe Bustelo. You can probably get it. Okay, that's enough. On Amazon, it is a coffee that's made in Miami. It's mostly a blend of Colombian coffee. It's made in Cuban style, so it's got some bite to it. If you like coffee, you like it to work. I'm not saying that Pablo Escobar had any part of the blend that Bustelo uses, but it sure feels like it because my Bustelo in the morning changes my whole perspective on the day. Very good. I once heard that Tim Horton had a deal with Pablo Escobar as well. Can't confirm that. Tim Horton, please don't contact the law firm of Cole Shots and have me sued again. All right. USHL news. No games for the USHL or NAHL yesterday or today. But in USHL news, a total of 49 former players have been nominated for the 2023 Hobie Baker Memorial Award, given annually to the top player in NCAA Division I hockey. 49. That's amazing. Let's jump right into our topic this morning. North American Hockey League rankings. We will now resume regularly scheduled content. I took a lot of heat last week for not publishing the article on Monday. Tommy and I were on the road back from Michigan, and things were a little foggy Monday morning. We got home about 5 a.m. and wasn't in the right mood or frame of mind to write that article at that point. We had just driven all night. That wasn't a good idea. So what happens. But missed a week, and a whole lot has changed in a week. Yes, the Lone Star Brahmas slide down a notch to number 2, with the Oklahoma Warriors figuring out a way to jump up and over the Fort Worth Crew. What about Danbury? We'll get to that. NAHL rankings. Number 1, Oklahoma Warriors. Oklahoma, 26-6-0-1, 803 win percentage. Garrett Roth and the top-ranked Warriors have wins in 6 straight games after the home sweep of El Paso. There's a high likelihood that streak will continue unless the Ice Rays find a way to move the Sal Padre Muchachas to Oklahoma before the weekend. You'll understand that topic in a moment. Number 2, Lone Star Brahmas, 25-6-1-3, 771 win percentage. Dan Walfon's Brahmas must have been infected with the famous brown-eyed flu during their visit to Corpus Christi. It's understandable. Those South Padre Island girls have been distracting visiting hockey teams for 25 years. Getting swept at Corpus Christi is not as bad as getting swept in back-to-back road weekends. To avoid that unpleasantry, Lone Star needs to have some success this weekend at Shreveport. Okay, I've been to Corpus Christi and I've been to Shreveport. Nothing against those Cajun girls. They can be a distraction, but nothing like the South Padre Island girls, the Padre Island girls. Those Corpus Christi girls, maybe I'm just a biased opinion about Latinas. I think that that's a good possibility. I could maybe somewhat biased opinion. Nothing against the all American girls, but after my first wife, no mas, mi amigo. No mas. Number 3, Maryland Black Bears, 26-8-4. Clint Mymock's Bears division lead has shrunk to just 8 points after being swept at Maine. How the heck did that happen? How does the top team in the division go to Maine and get swept? Anything less than max points from this weekend's home set with the Generals would have to be considered a disappointment. That East Division, Tommy, I don't know. Number 4, Austin Bruins, 23-7, 3-4, 7-16 win percentage. Steve Howard's Bruins split 4 straight games with St. Cloud, despite the Norseman head coach not on the bench while serving a suspension. The Bruins currently have a 13-point division lead over second-place Aberdeen, but should know better than to take their foot off the gas now, especially as we approach February. This week's run out to Minot will be a challenge. Nothing's going to be easy about that series in Minot. Steve Howard, he knows that for a fact. There's no easy games anywhere in the Central Division. But going out to Minot into January, there are no palm trees swaying in the wind out there. It's going to be cold. The atmosphere inside Mesa is going to be intense. It usually is. Every rivalry within the Central Division is intense. And Austin being a division leader and Minot trying to get up and into the playoff position, it's going to be intense. Number 5, New Jersey Titans, 23-12, 1-1. Craig Dormus and the Titans are winners in 8 of the last 10 games after the weekend sweep at Danbury. Overlooking the Rebels this week would be a serious mistake. I don't know what happened in Danbury. I think it was Friday night. 1-goal game. Saturday, Jersey opened it up a little bit. Danbury does have exceptional goaltending on occasion. That can be it. They did outshoot the Tricksters in both games, Friday's night especially. Number 6, Northeast Generals, 20-11-4-1, 625 win percentage. Brian Erickson's Generals looked like world beaters in the 9-1 trashing of Philadelphia Thursday in Boston. So what happened Friday? Inconsistency. The Gens visit Maryland this week. How does a coach allow a team to lose that much focus where they beat a team by 7 goals on one night or 8 goals, and they come back on Saturday and toss a poop fest? I don't know. Minnesota Wilderness, 21-12, 1-3, 622 win percentage. Coach of the Year candidate Brett Skinner and his Wilderness looked impressive in the home-and-home sweep of Chippewa. Look for Minnesota to find themselves back on top of the division by this time next week if they can pull a couple of wins out of the trip to Springfield. Listen, I don't know how Skinner's done it this year. I haven't heard any Dave Boyd's complaints coming out of Minnesota this year. And that's like 2 or 3 years or 4 years straight. It's been the Boyd's mess, one after the other, interfering with this team. Skinner has that door locked. Kyle Brody's there as well, helping. You got to like what they've been doing. Skinner. Maybe he's going back to the USHL quicker than we thought. He's done a fantastic job this year with the Wilderness. Despite all the distractions there and all the trouble, he's done a fantastic job with that group. Speaking of fantastic jobs, number 8, Wisconsin Wendigo, 21-13, 1-1. Blake Catala's Wendigo are clearly the best NAHL team in the state of Wisconsin after picking up a huge 3-game sweep at Fairbanks. Winners in 7 straight games and 9-1 in the last 10. Look for the Wendigo to extend that streak to 9 after this week's games at Kenai River. It's never easy. Well, Maybe it is now. It has never been easy in the last 25 years to win at the Big Dipper in Fairbanks. To win 2 or 3 is an accomplishment. To sweep Fairbanks at the Big Dipper in 3 straight games is an achievement. Maybe it's not so much of one in the last couple of years. It's kind of lost its luster a little bit. But don't tell Fairbanks fans that. They are pissed. What is going on with the Ice Dogs at home? Ice Dogs, 22-14-3-0, 603 win percentage. A week after Dave Allison's Ice Dogs pulled a big monkey off their back, home series win over Kenai was the first since February of last year. Fairbanks stinks up the Big Dipper while getting beat in 3 straight games by the Wendigo. The good news, this week's games are in Anchorage. Back on the road, Fairbanks, no pressure. Why is Dave Allison still the coach? A 9th-ranked team, they could win on the road. Maybe that's good enough for Profit. Maybe Profit's give a damn is busted because Fairbanks gives everything for that Ice Dogs team, and they don't deserve this. It's embarrassing. As a Anchorage, South Central Alaska guy, as I am, kind of enjoy this a little bit. Prof can be a butthead. Always has been. He's mad at me because we kind of pulled the wool. He pulled the wool over everybody's eyes last year when he hired Dave Allison. Oh, this guy is coming direct from the USHL, which was a bold-faced lie. The guy was coaching in the SIJHL. Plucked him mid-season out of Fort Francis, brought him to Fairbanks. Not what the press release said. Number 10, New Mexico Ice Wolves, 20-13-2-1, 597 win percentage. Phil Fox and the Ice Wolves picked up 3 points in the weekend split with visiting Amarillo. Bus rolls into Texas this week when New Mexico visits Odessa. That series in Odessa is going to be intense. The Jackalopes are playing really good hockey, fresh off a sweep at Shreveport. That's not easy to do. They're getting good goaltending, and Phil Fox's group has struggled a little bit as of late. Started the season hovering near the top of our list, and now find themselves down in the C category. Interesting. Speaking of the Mudbugs, number 11, 18-13-2-2, 569 win percentage. Jason Campbell and the Mudbugs are winless in the last 4 games after being swept at home by Odessa. Lone Star visits Georgia's Pound this week. All right, this is unusual at this time of year for the Mudbugs to be slipping, and look for that intensity to come back this weekend with Lone Star coming to town. Dan Wildfang has a long history with Shreveport, both as a player for Shreveport, a player against Shreveport, a coach against Shreveport as a pro team with the Brahmas, and now as a North American Hockey League team. You know, one of the conditions that Shreveport had when they entered the league was they couldn't steal Dan Wildfang as a coach from the Brahmas. That's interesting. Well, that's where we are. This rivalry is intense. It doesn't matter who's in first place or who's in last place. When the Brahmas face the Mudbugs, it's a bit of a family feud every single time they get together. Doesn't matter where they're getting together at, but especially in Shreveport. Number 12, Maine Nordiques, 18-14-1-1. Pinch and the Nordiques picked up a valuable home sweep of division-leading Maryland in a series that should give Maine a serious confidence boost. The Nords visit the Generals on Monday. They're off until Monday. Look, sweeping Maryland, division leaders at home, gives the Nords a big boost. That's correct. But Maine has struggled with consistency all season. And I don't know what the hell's going on with Maryland. Number 13, Aberdeen Wings, 19-14, 1-2. Scott Langer's Wings will be spending a lot of time in the film room this week in an effort to break down Saturday's 10-4 loss at Bismarck. That same Bobcats team visits the Odie this weekend. I know Scott Langer. I know that loss from Saturday is eating him up. He probably spent all night, Saturday night, watching film, trying to break it down. But he probably went back to the film on Sunday. He's an intense guy. And that kind of loss, very unusual for Scott Langer. I don't recall him losing like that in a long time by 6 goals. So there's more to the story. And he's not going to sleep right. He's got babies at home. His wife is there. Scott Langer is not going to sleep until he avenges that loss against Bismarck. He's going to be worried all week about the Bismarck's ability to score a lot of goals in a hurry. And that situation will be addressed all week in practice. Aberdeen's players, you guys are in for an intense week of practice. Scott will be all over you all week until you fix this issue. Look for Aberdeen to shut out Bismarck in one of these games this weekend at the Odie. Defense will be a high priority this week. Number 14, Minot Toros, 19-15, 1-1. Cody Campbell's Toros are the hottest team in the division with 6 wins in the last 10 games. Division leading Austin visits Mesa Arena this weekend. Talked about it earlier. That's going to be an intense series, as is every Central Division series. But Minot's scratching the door, knocking on the door to get into the top 4. Austin's holding on to a lead. Minot sees a little bit of blood in the water after what happened with St. Cloud last weekend in Austin. Look for this series to get intense. Minot's going to come out charging. Austin better be ready for this. Number 15, Amarillo Wranglers. The Wanglers. Go ahead and say it. Wanglers. 17-14, 2-1. 544 win percentage. Harry Muhood's Wranglers are simply an average hockey team. The weekend split at New Mexico gave the Ice Wolves 3 points and leaves Amarillo 4 points behind Shreveport with less than 2 games played. This week's visit to number 27 El Paso should not present many difficulties for Amarillo, but that's not how the season has gone, has it? Amarillo started out hot, as they always do, and kind of fizzled. It's like throwing water on a cooking egg. Hasn't really been the same, has it, folks? But Amarillo's owners tolerate this. They're consistent. Got to give them that. Number 16, Anchorage Wolverines, 15-13, 5-1. Evan Trupp and the Wolverines wrecked the visiting Brown Bears to earn the sweep over one of their in-state rivals. That series set the table for this week's visitors from Fairbanks. All right, look at. You can sell out Sullivan Arena for women's volleyball between Anchorage and Fairbanks. It doesn't matter. You could probably put the ice on the football field at Mulcahy Stadium and sell it out in the middle of winter. It doesn't really matter. Fairbanks versus Anchorage is always going to be a mess. Throw in beer, intensity, and it's going to get crazy. It's just the way it is. Fairbanks hates Anchorage. Anchorage hates Fairbanks. Probably why I secretly, not really secretly, I despise all things Fairbanks. When Fairbanks was the only team in the North American Hockey League, I had to kind of pull for them, but kind of felt weird. But I had a part in getting the Ice Dog started many, many years ago. So Prophet doesn't like me. So it's funny. It's more like a one-way hate thing. He hates me because I tell the truth. And I dislike him because he's in Fairbanks. I don't know if dislike is a nice word. It's funny. We saw him a couple years ago, him and I think it was Trevor Stewart and Josh Hauge at the showcase in Blaine. And I walked up to them and said hello to these guys. And I get along with Trevor and Hauge really well. Prof. And he almost growled at me. It was funny. I laughed for days afterwards. Great experience. Anchorage. Kick their beep. Can I beep my own self? Beep myself. Number 17, North Iowa Bulls, 17-15, 2-0. 529 win percentage. Todd Sandin's Bulls got last week off and should be more than rested for this week's war with St. Cloud. Can North Iowa fight off the Norsemen and Bobcats charge up the standings? That remains to be seen. Look at Norsemen are dealing with a lot of adversity and overcoming it. Bismarck, they're hard charging. North Iowa, nah, that's not the word I would use for the Bulls. There has been a question of culture in the room for North Iowa this last couple of years. And we found this over and over again throughout the last 20-something years. Well, that's nice. When there's an issue with culture in the room, February is a time where those rooms tend to lose themselves a little bit. Teams with more discipline will overtake a team with less discipline when there's those kind of issues going on within the team. Has that situation been addressed by the Bulls? I don't know. Is Todd Sandin taking notes from Tony Critelli's book of how to manage a hockey team? That remains to be seen. We'll see as we go down the stretch here what happens with the Bulls. Number 18, Janesville Jets, 17-15, 3-4, 526 win percentage. Joe Dibble and the Jets can't buy any level of consistency lately. One game they play awesome. The next game they play, not so awesome. Losing 3 or 4 games to Springfield has put the Jets hold on the playoff position in serious danger. Chippewa visits this weekend. Now, which Jets team is going to show up? Chippewa's a good team. Janesville probably has more talent. Now, Dibble needs to figure out a way to get those guys all on the same page. Month after Christmas, guys are a little tired. Some of the guys are beat up a little bit. But look for Janesville to make a push down the stretch. If they're going to do it, now's the time. Number 19, Odessa Jackalopes, 17-16, 0-1. Scott Dewar's Jackalopes look stout in the weekend road sweep at Shreveport. Playoff discussions get serious this week if the Jacks can get the best of the visiting Ice Wolves. Odessa has the talent. Scott Dewar knows what he's doing. New Mexico's slipping a little bit. I believe the Jackalopes could pick up 3 points in that series with New Mexico. That'll be a plus. Getting 4 would be better. 3 would be good. Number 20, Chippewa Steel, 17-16, 1-1, 514 win percentage. K-Siping-Young and the Steel lost both sides of the home-and-home set with the Wilderness and now find themselves only a single game over 500 with a road trip this week to Janesville. If the Steel can capitalize on the Jets' inconsistency, they can probably pick up a split in Janesville. If the Steel sweep Janesville, the Jets are in trouble, and the Steel can fight themselves into a situation for the playoffs. Wow. Someone's calling me from Hudson, Florida. Turn that one off. Number 21, Kenai River Brown Bears, 19-18, 1-1, 513 win percentage. Taylor Shaw's Brown Bears looked, I keep messing this up. Brown Bears, Black Bears, Brown Bears, Black Bears. Looked a bit lost while getting swept at Anchorage. The Red Hot Wendigo visit the Soldotna Sports Complex this weekend after embarrassing Fairbanks at the Big Dipper. Kenai's in trouble. They're sinking like a rock in water. And really, it's been that way since the third period meltdown in Anchorage a few weeks ago. Maybe it's longer than that. Mom's home. You have to have discipline with the hockey team. We talked about that a little bit with North Iowa. Kenai's been running loose all year. They got to get control of that room. Maybe Shaw's a little too young and doesn't have the same respect, or doesn't command the same level of accountability within that room. But those boys hit the ice and lose their heads. And when that happens, you're going to lose the game. They played a little cooler this weekend in Anchorage, or this past weekend, and we'll see what happens against the Wendigo. If Kenai can manage a split from that series, I'll be shocked. If they sweep the Wendigo, they'll be back in it again. We'll see what happens. My money's on the Wendigo getting the sweep at Kenai. Got to get Nate Keel out of there. Number 22, Bismarck Bobcats, 15-16, 3-2, 486 win percentage. Lane Sadevi and the Bobcats picked up a trio of points in the home split with Aberdeen. That 10-4 win on Saturday sent everyone a serious message. Look for another serious conflict when both teams get together this week in Aberdeen. Lane has Scott Langer's number, knows how to play against a Langer coach team, and really sent that message home on Saturday. Langer is in a pickle right now. It's like they're playing chess, and Lane just kind of shocked them. We'll see what happens this weekend. Look for a hell of a series when those two teams get together at the Odie in Aberdeen. Number 23, St. Cloud Norseman, 15-16, 2-2, 486 win percentage. Corey Millen's Norseman, word of the week is perseverance. You got to love how this team has overcome the suspension of Corey Millen, how they've overcome the adversity facing the referees and the visiting opponent at the same time. It's interesting. Are the St. Cloud Norsemen the North American Hockey League's version of the Oakland Raiders? Remember the good old days of the Raiders? Just win, baby. I don't really see Chris Canavati as, what was that guy's name? Al something. Al. The guy, the crazy Al Pacino. That wasn't his name. The owner of the Raiders, I forgot his name. I'm not a big football guy anyway. St. Cloud. Facing the world. These boys, all the league has done is drive this team closer together. Overcome adversity. Overcome injuries. Keep tossing your crap into the fan, NAHL. This is a good ownership. This is a good coach and a good team. Give them all you want. You're making them stronger. The weekend home-and-home sweep of division-leading Austin was nothing short of epic. Just when it looks like the entire NAHL is simply out to get Millen and his crew, they pull off a stunner. Let's see if they can do it again this weekend against North Iowa. When it comes to two different rooms that are completely on the opposite end of the spectrum, the Norsemen and the Bulls are in completely different places. Millen knows how to control the room. Number 24, Springfield Blues, 16-18, 0-0. I still can't figure out why Tyler Renee could not wait until the end of the season to announce his departure. Head coaching waiting Todd Pokaki. God, I'm butchering. Someone tell me how to say his last name. Pokaki does not sound right. It sounds, well, not good. Certainly, the coach in waiting certainly deserves the opportunity, but now the Blues look off balance, and I get it. They would be off balance. Who's the boss? Okay, Renee is the head coach until the end of the year, but why let that confusion hit the room? For the 2002s, okay, this is our head coach. For the 03s, I don't want to piss off this guy because he's a real head coach for next year. Tough place to be. Tough situation to put those kids into. Friday's 4-2 loss to Janesville was avenged with Saturday's 4-1 win. And Minnesota Wilderness visit Springfield this week. Number 25, Georgetown Tomahawks. 15-17, 2-0. Mike Latiza and the Tomahawks got a break this past weekend and should be more than pumped for this week's road trip to Danbury. Look for the Tommies to be back at 500 this time next week. All right, look at here. Danbury has 2 wins on the season. 1 over the Tomahawks, first game of the year, I believe. Johnstown, don't embarrass yourself by getting beat in Danbury this weekend. Don't let your guard down. Sure, they're not really a good team, but they almost picked off New Jersey. That's dangerous. Don't be the team that breaks their losing streak. Let that thing fly the rest of the year. You don't want to be that guy. Number 26, Philadelphia Rebels, 15-18, 1-1, 457 win percentage. Justin Hale and the Rebels were blown out by the Generals in Boston, 9-1 before bouncing back with a 3-2 overtime win on Saturday. Nicely done. Not too sure what happened to the Generals. How do you win by 8 and lose in overtime the next night to the same team? Let's see if the Rebs can maintain Saturday's level of intensity when they face the Titans in the home-and-home series this weekend. Going to be a good series. Both teams are based in Jersey. Civil War? Not really. But the Titans and Rebels have been going at it for years. This version of the Rebels is a little bit different. Joe Coombs is not there. Joe Coombs does bring intensity, but we'll see what happens this weekend. Speaking of Joe Coombs, number 27, El Paso Rhinos, 11-20, 3-0, 368 win percentage. Joe Coombs' Rhinos were swept at Oklahoma and fell to 9 games under 500. Amarillo visits this weekend. It's unclear if new general manager Steve Jennings has been able to make any impact on the team for this season. The Rhino body count is now at 69. 69 players have been rostered with the Rhinos so far this year. Got a few more days left before the trade deadline. Can they get over 75? They could. They could. Wholesale changes in El Paso. Look for it to happen this week. Why not? You're not making the playoffs. These 20 bombs won't do you any good for next year. Time to reset. Corpus Christi Ice Race. 9-22, 5-0. Cloutier and the Ice Rays pulled all the stops in their shocking home sweep other than top-ranked Lone Star Brahmas. The Ice Rays face another top-ranked team this week when they visit Oklahoma. All right. You go to Corpus Christi. The Ice Rays, how are they not distracted by all the distractions? Maybe they're just used to it by now. If they can figure out some way to take those distractions on the road with them, Casey, you need a fan bus. Obviously, with a stripper pole. That'd be good. They have those. Just bring 10. Put them behind the home team bench on the road. And you might get that same distraction because teams go to Corpus Christi and they lose their minds. You have a hell of an advantage in Corpus. I think Casey should just hire those guys and make it, those girls, and make it full time. Hopefully they're not guys. Could be. That leaves us with number 29, Danbury, holding up the rest of the league. They got one win. Wow. After the first game of the season, 31, 34, 36, one win in 37 games. All right, 231, 3-2. It's clear that Patrick Steffen has had some kind of positive influence in Danbury. New Jersey squeaked by the Tricksters 2-1 Friday night. That was a moral victory. Why can't we count that? 2-1 against New Jersey? Good showing. Great goaltending. Too bad Danbury fans didn't really see it. I think Danbury's got a better goalie than the NAHL team has a better goalie than the Federal Hockey League team. And I'm not really sure the Federal Hockey League team can beat the NA team. Just saying. The wheels fell off Danbury's bus in Saturday's 5-1 loss to extend the winless streak to 24 games. Wow. 24 games without a win. Johnstown visits this weekend. We're a week away from February, closing in on trade deadlines, roster freezes. Teams have to play with what they got. So this is a big week for teams to decide, am I in it or am I not? Am I in it? Am I a contender for a playoff spot? Or are we better off dumping the 20 bombs and going younger so we have some experience for next year? That's a smart play. In the Central Division, everybody's in it. In the Midwest Division, everybody's still in it. So I don't see those two divisions doing anything of that nature. East Division, well, there's some floaters in the Punch Bowl. Danbury for sure. South Division, getting close. We're almost there. Corpus, El Paso should certainly be in next year's mode already. Well into it. So we'll see how those teams react in this next week. I'm not really impressed with Steve Jennings so far in El Paso. I don't know what he's doing from his home, but it hasn't really been a positive impact on what's going on with the Rhinos. Not yet. Maybe Jennings and Coombs aren't quite getting along or whatever else it is. Coombs likes to run his own show. I get that. Too many bosses around El Paso. You got the Coreys, Corey Herman and Corey Fion. I don't know if it's Peon or Peon. Fion. Neon. Joe. A lot of heavy personalities in that room. And now you throw Steve Jennings into that pot. Nah. Not convinced. Not convinced yet. All right. That wraps up today's show. Eric Ballard never showed up. Dude, you're in trouble. People are looking forward to your candor. I even put you on the list. Hey, he's going to come in today. Bows. No show. Hope he's okay. I'm thinking the truck went off the road into a snowbank and he's just out of it. That or the Jack Daniels bottle hit him right over the head last night. Because last night he confirmed he's going to be in. Happens. It's cold in Wyoming. Maybe the wife just said no. You can't leave. You can't get up this morning. You got to stay here. Sometimes wives do that, especially hockey wives. All right, folks, that's it for today. Until tomorrow, we hope that you have a great day in hockey.